Hi guys, Asmo here, and today I'm going to share with you a lot of advice, tips and tricks for beating the Forbidden Sanctum successfully. I've completed a bunch of full Sanctum runs with a build that has pretty low damage. However, my build is mechanically amazing for the Sanctum, so if you're looking for something to deal with the guards and bosses very easily, I definitely recommend the Brand playstyle. In the future videos I'm going to cover my build as well as a strategy for making currency while quickly farming Sanctum runs, but for now let's focus on the mechanic itself. So one thing I've noticed is that a lot of people look at the league mechanic the wrong way, and if you can shift your perspective and look at it differently, it's going to be much easier for you to understand how to successfully complete your runs. So the number one thing to get is that you're not running the league mechanic to make currency, you're running it for the relics. The relics are going to make your future runs much easier, and you should only prioritize successfully completing all 4 floors before you try to squeeze currency out of them. So forget about the currency rewards unless it's a divine orb icon. You can just basically pretend they don't exist, and from the moment you step into the first floor, your goal is to amass as many coins as you can while avoiding run-ending afflictions. The reason why you want to focus mainly on getting the coins is that the most consistently overpowered room is the merchant. The merchant will give you amazing boons and benefits that will carry your runs, and together with the radiant fountain, this room is super high priority. Sometimes it also offers actual relics that you can purchase for yourself permanently, so by prioritizing the merchant you're also increasing your chances at getting good relics. This also means that you should prioritize major and minor treasure over currency rooms. The treasure room chests have 2 to 5 chests each, giving you about 50 coins, which is more than you get from killing the guards. That's why these rooms are important if you want to be able to purchase a lot of things from the merchant. Clearing all the guards and coffers will give you about 50 to 80 coins, so it's definitely worth doing even in the missions that only require you to find the exit. You should be comfortable fully clearing rooms without taking much resolve damage, so it shouldn't matter what the mission is, just kill everything and get all the coins if you want to maximize your chances at killing the last boss. Now, when you're plotting your path, your first priority is to check for afflictions, not just in the next room, but in the rooms ahead of it, as far as you can see. I'll talk about afflictions and boons in a moment, but the main thing that is going to fail your runs are exactly those hugely detrimental negative effects. So even if you have a great rooms before that, if you're going to be forced to pass through a terrible affliction, it is irrelevant, because who cares if you get extra coins or 10 chaos if you're not going to be able to finish the run, and finishing the run takes priority over everything else, remember that. So now let's talk about afflictions and boons. So let's try to go over all of the afflictions that I can see here, and I'm gonna try to give you like a kind of a tier, kind of an idea of like how bad they are for you. Monsters deal 25% more damage. Totally irrelevant, completely fine to pick that. In my opinion, you should not be dying. The only problem might be the last boss, but you should be practicing that boss a few times, and then you're gonna be comfortable just dodging all of the abilities, and then you should not die to anything. Traps impact 100% increased resolve. This is pretty bad. Anything that permanently affects your resolve or is affecting your resolve usually is pretty bad. This is not so bad if you have a lot of inspiration, so this is something that you have to understand. If you get a lot of inspiration, whether from your relics or from different accursed pacts that you can get, inspiration is super powerful, because these things are gonna be less detrimental to you if you pick that. 50% less coins found. This is not too bad. It's pretty bad early on in your run, but the later you go in your run, like the second half of the 4th floor, this is completely irrelevant, and at that point this can be picked as just as nothing. And sometimes there can be like accursed packs that actually give you benefits. You get inspiration per every affliction that you're gaining, so this is something that you can actually swing in your favor. At the beginning though, this is definitely really bad. Blunt Sword, your minions deal 25% less damage. Depending on the build, this might be really bad or not at all. If you're doing a lot of damage, if you have like 5 million DPS, you're probably totally fine picking this. It's not gonna matter at all. If you're struggling, if you have like 500k DPS, then this is gonna be really bad, and you definitely should not pick this. So definitely depends on the build that you're playing and how much damage you actually need to successfully beat the bosses, which is gonna require some practice and understanding how much damage you are dealing yourself. Traps are faster. Kind of skill dependent. In the early floors, it's pretty easy. It doesn't do that much damage to you. Like traps are not so bad, but in the later floors with the magma balls and so on, if you're not having a good run, if you're having like a bad run, adding this is gonna be pretty bad. But if you're having a good run and you have tons of resolve and inspiration, it's actually not gonna be that bad. Split purse, usually you shouldn't be getting hit that much, so this is not so bad. However, early on this can completely wreck you. So again, anything that makes you lose coins or gain fewer coins early on is gonna be very bad, but the later you go, the less impactful it's going to be, because you would have already purchased everything you need from the vendor. Lose 30 areas coins upon room completion. This is basically gonna like just nuke all your coins. You're gonna lose all your coins basically. This is pretty bad. Again, just like with the other gold ones, early on pretty bad, later on doesn't really matter. Chests no longer drop areas coins. So there's this one, and there's also the one where monsters no longer drop the coins. Monsters drop fewer coins than the chests. Chests are the main source of the coins, so this is really bad early on as well. Monsters have 30% increased maximum life. This is a little bit worse than you deal 25% less damage. So again, pretty much you can look at them as being the exact same thing, except this one is 25%, this one is 30. Monsters impact 25% increased resolve. Depending on your resolve, depending on your inspiration, this can basically do almost nothing to you. If you're not getting hit, this is pretty simple to pick, but usually you want to avoid this in case you're having a bad run and you're getting hit a bunch. Then this might be very impactful. Definitely depends on how your run is going. 50% reduced resolve recovered. This is pretty bad. A lot of the time you're gonna have like boons that recover your resolve when you hit like below 20%, it's gonna recover 50%. This is gonna make it recover only 25. You're gonna have like resolve recovered when you enter boss room. This is gonna affect that. This is gonna affect your fountains and all of that. So this is pretty bad to get if you're relying on your resolve a lot. Again, one of those that you wanna usually avoid. You can see one fewer room ahead in the Sanctum map. This is GG. This is like, you're done. If you pick this, you're done. Never pick this. Avoid this at all cost. This is gonna end your run, because you're gonna get into a dead end. Like you're gonna get into a room and the next options are gonna be terrible, and you're like, well, I didn't know that was gonna happen because I couldn't see one room ahead, right? And if you can get a boon that gives you like, you can see one extra room ahead, that's really amazing boon, right? So this completely run ending, never pick this. Increased merchant prices, really bad. That's basically like losing half of your coins. Pretty bad early on. Later on, of course, doesn't matter. Lose all coins on floor completion, pretty bad early on. Again, room types are unknown on the Sanctum map. Again, completely game ending. Never pick this. Like you just pick this and it's GG. You're gonna walk into some random room with horrible afflictions and you're just gonna completely get destroyed. Never pick anything like this. This is completely run ending. Rewards are unknown. Again, this is when I picked this, by the way, this was equivalent to this. Rewards are unknown basically showed nothing on the room for me. Maybe it was a bug, but I saw absolutely nothing. So this is the same like the red smoke. Never pick the smoke. Afflictions are unknown. Also, never pick this. Avoid this at all cost. This is why we're doing planning, right? This is why this whole thing compounds so badly. We're pathing specifically to avoid these really bad afflictions, and if you cannot see them, you cannot avoid them, so you cannot path, and it compounds and it just becomes complete, just end of run. Like you cannot deal with this, so don't pick these smokes. It's really bad. Lose 5% current resolve on room completion. Depending on, like, if you have tons of inspiration, this can be fine. Again, early on, this is going to be a little bit worse. The lower your resolve is, the less it actually impacts you. The higher your resolve is, the more it impacts you. So that's something to take into account. Usually you want to avoid anything that makes you lose resolve, so I would avoid that. Reduced light radius minimap is hidden. Kind of up to you to play with this. I haven't picked this yet, so I don't know how bad it actually feels to play with this. I mean, it shouldn't be that bad. I don't know about the reduced light radius. Maybe there's some way to cheese this with some unique item or some masteries or something like that. I haven't tried it, so try it at your own risk. But technically, if you can deal with it, this would be like a nice filler that you can just use to avoid other bad ones. 100% more resolve lost while resolve is below 50%. Situational, depending on how much resolve and inspiration you have, could be doing absolutely nothing, and then it's great. Or if you are like really low on resolve, have no inspiration, then it's gonna be run ending for you. You are not always taken to the room you select. Run ending, never pick this. You cannot recover resolve, removed after killing the next floor boss. This can be actually really nice because it's removed after killing the floor boss. Say if you have like few rooms left, you have some inspiration, you know you're not going to lose all the resolve, you know you have easy rooms ahead, this is totally fine to pick. So this can be really, really nice. Reduced effect of your relics. Early on, while you have bad relics, this does almost nothing to you. Later on, if you like have a strategy where you have like tons of like inspiration gain per room or per floor from your relics or something like that, this can be really bad. So definitely situational depending on the relics you have, but early on totally fine because you don't have any powerful relics early on. You can only have maximum 5 boons depending on how your run is going. If you have tons of boons, like if you've already picked a lot of them, or if you see ahead of yourself that you're gonna have like a merchant or fountain that grants boons or something like that, then this is something you want to avoid. But if you have like 0 boons, or your run is like almost at the end and you only have 5 boons and you know you don't need any more, then it's totally fine to pick. Merchant offers fewer choices, pretty bad early on, just kind of like the coins, right? Because this basically boils down to the same thing. So bad early, later on no problem. When you get an affliction, get an additional random minor affliction. Terrible, 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 terrible. Don't pick this. Gaining a random minor affliction is just completely terrible. Gain a random minor affliction when you use a fountain. This is pretty bad, unless you can like successfully avoid all the fountains and you have like inspiration to rely on and you don't need the fountains. Usually I don't need the fountains. I found myself really not needing them, but the thing is, it's random, right? So if you're gonna be forced to pass through a fountain, which sometimes you will be, this is gonna be really bad, right? So maybe like at the end of the run, if you see the road ahead of you, then it's gonna be fine, but early on, do not pick this. Lose resolve when you use a flask. Character specific. If you have a character that does not use flasks for some reason and you don't need to use flasks, then by all means pick this. For any normal character, it's pretty bad, so never pick this. Monsters inflict binding chains on hit. I never actually tried this one. Usually you should not be getting hit. I would assume this is gonna just make you take 2 hits instead of 1 hit on average. That's how it's gonna look like. So it's basically like losing extra resolve when you get hit already. So if you're good at dodging, this might be doing absolutely nothing. If you're bad at dodging, then this would be really bad. Guards release volatile anomaly on death. This is pretty avoidable. This is just gonna make it a little bit more tedious to fight the guards, especially if you're killing all of them like you should be for all of the coins early on. But the volatile anomaly is pretty easy to get used to, and you can just perfectly avoid it every single time. It gets tricky in this like circular rooms with the laser where you have to just run in a circle. But even then, you can deal with it totally fine. Sometimes it's gonna make you like dodge, and then because you're dodging, you're moving back into some attack of some guard. You're gonna lose a little bit of resolve from this because of it, but it's not that bad. So usually I end up actually running with this a bunch of times. Monsters inflict resolve weakness on hit. So this is basically gonna make you lose more resolve if you're getting hit, as far as I remember. This is basically similar to like where was it, binding chains or something like that. Usually should be avoided, right? Because losing more resolve is bad, so usually you want to avoid this. Monsters always knock back. This doesn't really do anything except for the last boss. That's the only place where it actually matters. The last boss has this like laser attack where it just spams this like lightning, and if you're caught in a bad position, it can actually knock you back and increase the duration for which you're gonna be like taking damage and taking resolve damage. So for the last boss, you wanna be careful if you have this one, but for everything else, this is pretty like negligible. You basically can pick this at any point and not worry about this because you shouldn't be really getting hit anyway. Minus to max resolve, usually really bad, but situationally, if you're relying solely on inspiration, it's totally fine to pick. Monster action speed cannot be slowed. Monsters have increased attack speed, casting move speed. It's pretty bad. You want to avoid this because this is going to make all of the guards much faster, and you're going to be getting hit more, so you're going to lose more resolve, so something to definitely avoid. Guards are accompanied by gargoyle. Again, kind of build specific, but in some of the tighter rooms with the lasers, this is actually pretty bad. The gargoyles actually are pretty fast when they get up, and they can hit you a bunch of times, and it makes it difficult when you have like 3 guards and 3 gargoyles. It's getting to like it's getting too much to dodge, right? So you definitely want to avoid this one. However, it's not the worst one, right? Like if you have to pick some of the worst ones, then this is not like the worst thing, but you are going to lose some extra resolve because of it. Don't think it's like a free one. It's definitely gonna cost you some resolve. Every room grants random minor affliction. They're removed on room completion. Again, the afflictions are pretty bad. Like there can be some way to use this to like cheese some inspiration. So maybe for that would be really cool, but other than that, definitely you want to avoid anything that says random and affliction in it, right? Anything that says random, you want to avoid it. Chests in rooms explode when opened. Haven't tried that one. I'm assuming you just have to click it and then run away, and then it's going to be kind of tedious, like the volatile, so probably not too bad. Reduced movement speed, very, very bad. Avoid this, makes it very hard to dodge things unless you have or you're playing like a giga-fast character, or you already like picked a boon with increased movement speed. Merchant only offers one choice, pretty bad early, fine late, again, just like with the old gold and merchant ones. Traps impact infinite resolve. This is going to basically kill you, like remove all of your resolve when you get hit by a trap, so of course never pick this one. Room spawn volatile anomalies, never tried that one, but it's probably going to be worse than the guard one. The guard volatile anomalies are predictable. This seems unpredictable, so I would not pick this one. Monsters no longer drop Eris coins. This is honestly fine. The coins come mostly from the chests in the treasure rooms, the minor and major treasure rooms. So if you have to pick something that is not very impactful, this is fine. Like especially later on, it's totally fine. But even early on, you could pick this. You're gonna lose some coins, but it's not as bad. Like in terms of like completing the run, it's not gonna be like a doom run. If you pick this, it's gonna be totally fine. So this is one of the like milder ones. You cannot recover resolve. Again, depending if you're running like full inspiration, then it's fine. If you're like at the end of the run, it's fine. Like if you have like a couple rooms left, you know, you're like fourth floor, full resolve, like bunch of inspiration, then it's totally fine. But early on, if you don't know yet like what's gonna happen, then it's pretty bad. Rooms are unknown on the Sanctum map. I don't know why there is like 3 different afflictions that do the exact same thing. Never pick this. It's like the smoke. It's gonna end your run. Losing resolve ends your Sanctum, removed after 3 rooms. Don't pick this ever. Don't pick this. Don't pick this. These are really, really bad. It's gonna end your Sanctum. Why would you ever pick that, right? So at all costs you wanna avoid that. You cannot gain any more boons. Very situational. You cannot gain Eris coins. Again, early on, don't pick this, but later on, like at the end of your run, is totally fine. Relics have no effect, same as the other relic one, situational on the relics you have. Monsters petrify on hit. Never tried this one. I assume this is really bad. It's gonna basically stun you probably, right? So don't pick this as well. And then the next boon you gain is converted into random minor affliction. Horrible, can end your run. Random affliction, again, if it's random, it's very, very bad and run ending. So always avoid this. As you can see, most of them are really bad. However, most of them are very rare. Like I would say there are few that like appear a lot of the time, like less coins found, monsters deal more damage, traps are faster, monsters have increased life, monsters impact increased resolve, 50% resolve recovered. This is very, very common, right? These are very, very common, but some of them are like really rare, like losing resolve ends your Sanctum. Like these are very rare. I've never seen this one, literally, like any of those, right? So it seems like there's a lot of them that you really cannot pick because it's gonna end your run, but it's actually maybe like half and half in what you're gonna see. So that's what's gonna basically drive you which direction you have to go. Now let's look at the boons, okay? The boons are a little bit less important. The afflictions are definitely the main thing you want to pay attention to, but the boons are very nice. Of course, monsters deal less damage. This is like pointless. You don't care at all. Monster damage is not a thing except for the last boss, and only that, and only one ability of the last boss even matters for any like damage from monsters, so you don't care about this. Increased movement speed is great, more coins is amazing, increased resolve recovered is amazing. Situationally, of course, right, because sometimes you rely on inspiration and then it's going to be pointless. You can see additional room ahead. This is really good. Like this is really, really good. Reduced merchant price is insane. This is like this is what you really want. Like this is the most insane, one of the most insane ones. The next time you go below 20% resolve, heal for 50 resolve. This is also insane. Very, very powerful. Glowing orb will save you a lot of the time. It's a pretty common one as well. Gain 250 inspiration at the start of each floor. Super powerful. 250 inspiration per floor is way more than enough. Like this is gonna win your run. Like you pick this, like you won. Like you won. GG. Gain 100 inspiration when you gain an affliction. This is also like you gain this, you get this, you won. You just pick the afflictions that don't do that much to you, and you're just gaining 100 inspiration every single time, and it's OP. So these two are super powerful. These three, these four, like, but these three especially are like super powerful. And then we've got less resolve lost when you have inspiration. There are some interactions for this when you're like lose resolve from certain like afflictions and stuff like that, but it's not really important. Doesn't really matter most of the time. Gain 400 inspiration if you complete the next 2 rooms without losing resolve. Again, if you can get this, this is really cool, but it's pretty rare. Resolve cannot be lost in the next room. Fairly pointless. This doesn't really do that much. You don't lose that much resolve in each room. It basically just adds up. Like you get bad afflictions, and then you could take some damage here, some damage here, some damage here, and don't find a way to recover it, and get another bad affliction. No good boons. That's how you lose. Not because like one room wrecked you. That's not really what happens. Coins are doubled. It's pretty cool. Traps are slower. That's actually really good. It makes some of the traps really easy. Monsters have reduced action speed. That's very good as well. Monsters impact reduced resolve. This is pretty good as well. Let's see. Monsters have 30% reduced max life. This is very good for bosses, especially because you're gonna take less damage. Like the first boss especially has some attacks that are very hard to dodge, so killing him faster is really nice. Same with this, right? Monsters, like you and your minions deal 50% more damage. It's very strong. The next guards you hit are killed instantly. All of these are kind of pointless. They don't really matter. Like guards are easy. You're not gonna be getting hit much by the guards anyway. It's always gonna be like combination of guards and traps and stuff like that. So killing a couple of them instantly doesn't really matter. So we don't care about this one that much. Increased effect of your relics. Again, the better your relics, the better it is. Increased coins gained while resolve is below 50. Very situational. It's not gonna be useful very often. So like don't pick it ahead of time. Like if you have a option to buy stuff from the vendor, don't pick this over something else if you're like early on in your run, because maybe you will never go below 50 resolve, right? 100% increased resolve recovered while resolve is below 50%, on the other hand, is very good. This works in combination with the glowing orb. So if you look at the glowing orb, next time you go below 25 recover 50, you're actually gonna recover 100%. So this one is very powerful. Recover 50% of your max resolve on entering boss room. This one is also very good. It's gonna give you a nice heal when you enter boss room and often heal you to full. Duplicate a random offer reward. Never had that. I mean, it could be really great, but it's just like a monetary bonus. Trigger arcane buffer when your inspiration reaches 0. So arcane buffer is gonna be like a stun around you, I assume, just like the arch nemesis. I never seen this one. Plus 200 maximum resolve is really good. Gain resolve each time you use a fountain is also pretty good. Next minor boon is converted to major boon. Again, this is pretty random, so not that big of a deal. Traps impact reduced resolve. This is pretty good as well. Traps are pretty nasty, especially like the magma balls one. They're pretty difficult to dodge, especially in some rooms, especially if you have like faster traps. So this could save you in that situation. Plus inspiration. This is like generic and very good as well. Like if you don't know what to purchase, like this is definitely a huge amount of like basically your HP for the run. The next purchase from the merchant has no cost. This is really cool. So you can combine these with like, first you buy your next purchase from the merchant has no cost. And then I had a situation where then I could buy like merchant 50% price, and then I could buy everything. And then I was just like buying everything from every merchant, and I had like an insane amount of boons. The merchant shop can be rerolled. This is also amazing. If you could combine it with the like reduction of the cost or increased coins or had tons of coins, this is really strong. Your coins are increased by 10% on room completion. So this is really good. So this is basically, if you ever played TFT, this is like interest gold. You can save interest. It's like compounding interest, right? So the more coins you have, the more you're gaining. And then you basically lose this bonus when you buy something from the merchant. So if you get this in the beginning and then you manage to go to like second, third floor, and you can have tons of coins, you hit like a reroll and your GG is GG. Traps are disabled, completely overpowered. It's amazing. If you can pick that, then of course pick that. Gain coins when you lose resolve from a hit. That's not that much. However, you could on purpose, like if you had like monsters impact less resolve, and then you stand really close to them, let them hit you a bunch of times and just farm a bunch of gold, this could be something that could work actually. Traps are disabled. Ignore the first resolve hit from hits each room. This is actually pretty good because, like I said, usually you're gonna get hit like once or twice per room. So this is gonna like save you half of the resolve that you're gonna be losing. Recover resolve on room completion, pretty strong. Ignore resolve lost for 1 second after losing resolve. This is pretty insignificant. It's just only 1 second. Upon reaching 0, recover to 75% of max resolve. This is like the better version of the, what's it called? The glowing orb, right? It's a better version of that because instead of gaining 50% at 20, you're getting 75 at 0, right? So you're getting to use more of it and recover more of it. Upon reaching 0, recover to full, lose 50 of max, and remove a random boon. This is a complicated one. Basically, it's gonna heal you up when you die. It's like a second life, so it's pretty good. You cannot receive any minor afflictions. It's just completely broken, so of course. Picking up coins recovers resolve, completely broken. Coins are doubled, amazing. Sanctum map is fully revealed, amazing. Gain minor boon when using a fountain, amazing. Duplicate up to 3 random offer rewards, potentially, you know, sacred mirror. Yeah, potentially this could make you a huge amount of currency. The next affliction you gain is converted into random minor boon. That's pretty fucking insane. And at the start of each room, a random shrine effect is applied to you. This is pretty whatever. This is honestly pretty useless. I don't know why this is a major boon. So that's it when it comes to that. And the next thing to talk about are the Accursed pact rooms. So these rooms can most of the time be used to your advantage, but they carry an implicit risk with them. So you never know what you're gonna get, but you can at least make a choice. And some people actually don't know, but you can pick more than one option. So if there is more than one beneficial pact, feel free to pick more of them. The general rule of dealing with the pacts is that if your run is going very poorly and you feel like you might not make it, a pact can be the exact thing that you need, right? It's risky, but if you are gonna lose anyway, then it's totally fine to take that risk. On the other hand, if your run is going perfectly and you have a huge amount of resolve, inspiration, positive boons with no game-ending afflictions, then you want to avoid pacts because they can potentially ruin your run. Because it's a small risk, but in that position you don't want to take any risks. Other than that, they're generally good to go for if there are no treasures, fountains, or merchants, or if you need to go through them for a better future pathing, which is very important to consider. The future pathing, something that avoids the worst afflictions, is the most important thing. And lastly, let's talk about re-rolling the run. So canceling and restarting the run is something that you should definitely take advantage of. If you're on the first or even the second floor and the run is going horribly and you're getting bad RNG with no way to pass through the Sanctum properly, feel free to just scrap it. The good news is that if you've had 8 rooms stored and you cancel the run on the second room, you will start the new Sanctum with the remaining 6 rooms already acquired. So that's why it's not as painful as it would seem, and you should definitely learn to identify doomed runs early on. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes you'll just get no other choice but to reroll. And as you do more Sanctums and acquire better relics and learn the patterns of attacks for all the guards and bosses, your rounds will be smoother and smoother, so don't give up. Make sure your character has good mobility to dodge all the mechanics and maybe pick a suitable build for it. With a little bit of practice, you'll be making raw divines and getting powerful relics in no time. In the next videos, I'll try to cover my build as well as the Atlas strategy I've been using, so subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.